Welcome, friends. I send you lots of love, light, and peace. This video is inspired by Notes on the Bhagavad Gita by William Q. Judge. I was really inspired to do this because of the state of mankind right now, and the actual state that we're in, and the state that many people think that we're in. So this video, I'm gonna jump around a little bit. I'm gonna start on chapter 14. But if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and a comment in the comment section below, and I'll do a few more. In the beginning of this book, Judge says Gita means song, and Bhagavad is one of the names of Krishna, and Krishna was an avatar. According to the views of the Brahmins, we are now in Kali Yuga, which began about the time of Krishna's appearance. He is said to have descended in order to start among men those moral and philosophical ideas which were necessary to be known during the revolution of this age, and at the end of which, after a quotation mark brief period of darkness, a better age will begin. Judge goes on to say, if the title of this sacred Hindu poem were paraphrased, it would read, the holy song of God himself, who, at the beginning of Kali Yuga, or the Dark Age, descended upon earth to aid and to instruct men. Now I'm going to add a few things just for context so that everyone understands a little more clearly. Hinduism teaches humanity evolves through 4 epic ages which are called yugas, and these are Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and the Kali Yuga. Respectively, the gold, the silver, the bronze, and the iron age. In the Bible, in Daniel, we read, the head of the statue is made of pure gold, its chest and arms of silver, and its belly and thighs of bronze. Verse 33, its legs of iron, and feet partly of iron, and partly of baked clay. Also, please note that the astrological sign Pisces is associated with iron as well as the feet. Each completed cycle lasts approximately 4,320,000 years, and then it repeats the 4 yugas again. The Kali Yuga began approximately 5,000 years ago, and it has a duration of 432,000 years, which means that we're still left with 427,000 years until the end of the Age of Darkness. Now, also called the Iron Age, the Kali Yuga is filled with war and conflict. Spiritually, civilization degenerates throughout the Yuga as people drift further and further from the divine. The Kali of Kali Yuga means strife, discord, quarrel, contention, confusion, delusions, and darkness accompany these. The age is associated with the demon Kali, not to be mixed up with the goddess Kali. So we are currently in a very dark black age of confusion and delusion, and I'm going to say that this is like the most outer energies that we're working with. If you've seen some of the other videos that I've done, you'll also know that we're currently in the great astrological age of Pisces, which began approximately 1 AD and will not end until 2150. Long time off yet. Although many people disagree and say it's from 2012 to 2065, I believe, is when they predict that it'll end. I'm not going to argue about any times, because if anyone just looks around, it should be evident that we're not in a happy space yet. Also, besides those two realms of darkness, we are in a third, which is Neptune is at home in Pisces and has been since 2011, 2012, and will remain there until 2025, 2026. Now, negative aspects of Neptune and Pisces are all addictions: drugs, alcohol, sex, food, addiction for knowledge, illusion, delusion, suffering, deception. And the positive aspects that you can acquire are spiritual enlightenment, and you will be given spiritual knowledge that is clear. That's not clear to a lot of others. You'll be able to see the hidden truths disclosed clearly, is I guess a better way to say it, yes. Now, Pisces, like all of the other water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, they feel more than the other signs, or they're more empathetic to what's going on around them. But you see, Pisces is the mutable sign of all of the water houses, meaning they're much more likely to be negatively influenced or deceived by what's going on around them, because it's the consensus. If everyone else thinks and feels this certain way, Pisces wants to swim with them. They want to go with them, even if it's against what they really believe. Wishy-washy. But that's the negative aspect. Like I said, all water signs, especially Pisces, are very empathetic to others, which of course can be a blessing or it can be a curse on yourself. During these times, false prophets and false ideology, chosen ones or elect people, healers, so-called healers, will be plentiful. And you'll know these deceivers because they'll be self-proclaimed holy ones. They will set themselves aside and say, others know this, but me and my class, yes. Basically, we shall know them by their fruits. Don't believe anyone who says that they can heal you. Don't believe anyone that says, I can heal you. I have experience in healing people, and no one can heal you. No one can heal you but you. I do believe in energy transference. So, like someone with, a good spirit and good energy coming, and telling someone else who's in a negative space that I'm going to give you my good positive energy, it will work. Not because that person gave it to them, but because the person who's on the receiving end believes that they're giving it to them. It's that person. It's themselves who are healing themselves. Don't get caught up in a bunch of... please don't get caught up in all of the hoo-ha, spiritual quotation mark stuff, please. These people will like to tell you that we're in a golden age, we're in the age of Aquarius, everything's good, don't believe them. Do not believe them. They're giving you false hope, just like Jesus coming out of the clouds to save the Christians. We are not in a bright, happy, good, gold time. We're in a dark time. So don't offer people false hope. Give them the truth, and the truth will set them free. Personally, I'm happy that we're in the time that we're in, because that means that there's so much time to change, and so that everyone can change, not just these few that people keep putting themselves and others into in that classification. So take this as peace, and not me trying to be a bummer and say, no, we're in darkness right now. Because through the darkness, you will find the light, if, and only if, your intention, your heart's desire is pure. In the book of Jeremiah, we read They dress the wound of my people as though it were not serious, saying peace, peace. They say when there is no peace. They offer superficial treatments for my people's mortal wound. Do not believe the people who say that we're in some airy-fairy wonderful space. We have a long way to go, but we need to buckle down, do our work, and then we will get to that good space. In my opinion, though, false hope or just saying that everything around us is just an illusion and don't worry about it. No, that's like sticking your head in the sand or your fingers in your ears like a little kid and saying, la, 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 I can't hear you. I'm just going to wish it into existence. That is delusion. So currently, we're in an age of darkness times 3. We have our Kali Yuga. We have our Age of Pisces. And also currently Neptune at home in Pisces. We're totally full of darkness and delusion. And if we're aware of it, we can deal with it. It was a very long intro. But now we'll start on the notes of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14. This chapter, like all the chapters in the Gita, speaks of but one supreme devotion, to which all other forms of human devotion must eventually give way, as the pilgrim strives for perfection. The great Brahma here refers to Prakriti, or matter or nature, for matter or nature is the cause of all action throughout the universe, as is the basis by which action may take place. There can be no action unless there is something to be acted upon. Hence, spirit and substance are held to be without beginning, that is, co-eternal and coexistent. As there are great periods of non-manifestation as well as manifestation, so for spirit or consciousness and substance or matter, there must be periods of latency and periods of activity, which are synchronous with each other. Prakriti, or substance, is the womb, in which the self or the spirit places, quote, the seed, end quote, of thought, of idea, and from this, action and evolution begin. The following classification and discussion of 3 qualities illustrates the vital difference between the ancient true psychology of the East and what is termed Western psychology. Both abound in classifications. Those of the East are much more numerous than those of the West and cover a far wider field. While Western psychology in its classification refers solely to mental states, the psychology of the Gita and the ancient sages classify the moral states, treating the mental states as mere effects produced by moral conditions. Herein lies the secret of the hold that the Gita has had down the ages and continues to have increasingly. It lays bare unsuspected basis of error. It discloses the most subtle forms of self-delusion, and it marks out the true course of painstakingly that the dullest mind cannot fail to grasp a clear perception of the path to true knowledge. These 3 great qualities are called sattva, rajas, and tamas. Light or truth, passion or desire, and indifference or darkness are born from nature and bind the imperishable soul to the body. The binding is by the attachment of the self or the soul to the qualities perceived in nature. The sattva quality binds the rebirth through attachment to knowledge and that which is pleasant. The fruit of righteous acts appertains to sattva. Rajas is the nature of desire, producing thirst and propensity. It binds the soul through action and its consequences. Being separative and compelling in quality, its fruit is gathered within pain. Tamas is the nature of indifference or darkness. As the chapter states, it is the deluder of all creatures. It imprisoneth the ego in a body through heedless folly, sleep, idleness, ignorance, delusion, and folly exist where tamas prevails. It is important to remember that every human being is attached to physical existence through these three qualities. It must not be supposed, however, that one of these qualities is present in one individual and absent in others, for all three qualities belong to nature and all living beings. The differences in human beings are found in the degrees of attraction which each one has for one or other of the qualities. As the chapter recites, quote, when tamas or rajas are overcome, then sattva prevaileth, end quote. When sattva and tamas are hidden, then rajas prevaileth. When sattva and rajas diminish, then tamas is chiefly acting. Once the student understands the nature of these three qualities, or attractions found in physical existence, he is then prepared to examine his own disposition in regard to them. Has he cleanness of perception? Is he of a quiet and a peaceful nature? Is he attached to knowledge and that which is pleasant? And if so, the quality of sattva is there to some degree, even if only for that time being. To the individual, sattva is that which seems good to him, even though his prevailing quality may be rajas or tamas. So, the bee seeks and appreciates the sweetness in the flower, but is ignorant of the flower's nature or purpose. While every form in the three kingdoms of nature has its own peculiar quality, whether consciously or unconsciously expressed, yet the perceptions of these qualities depend upon the nature of the perceiver, his understanding, and his knowledge. Good and evil are relative, so nature may not be classified as part good and part bad. The goodness, the passion and desire, the ignorance, the indifference and folly are all within ourselves. The path to sattvic perception and perfection begins with the feeling of responsibility for our own thoughts and the words and actions and deeds that come afterward, and ends in unselfishness. The characteristics of rajas are love of gain, activity and action, meaning the holding of external action as the end in view, the initiating of works, restlessness, and inordinate desire, producing thirst and propensity for possessions of any and every kind, physical and mental, loudness of speech, obtrusiveness in manner and action, and self-assertion in many ways. Reader's note, also watch out for sweet talkers and double talkers. Tamas shows itself as indifference or darkness, as the chapter notes. Here it would seem that, quote, indifference and darkness, end quote, are synonymous terms, for that which we call indifference arises from ignorance of the true nature of things, events, and beings. It might be called the selfishness of ignorance. There are, of course, many degrees of tamas, as many, in fact, as there are minds, for tamas is indicated wherever there is ignorance, folly, idleness, and delusion of any degree. Thus, one may express sattvic, rajasic, or sattvic, tamasic qualities, rajasic, tamasic, or rajasic, sattvic, tamasic, sattvic, or tamasic, rajasic, in variable and varying degrees at different times, according as one is carried away by their personal feeling. Even sattva may be of that kind which expresses a harmless or seemingly harmless selfishness. The love of knowledge, of goodness and pleasantness for one's own sake, or doing the righteous acts for the reward which follows them, while these bring fair and pleasant existence, the results obtained from them are temporary, and at the same time bind one to the physical existence. The highest path, and that which leads to emancipation, is, quote, separation from the three qualities. Of course, there is reality no separation possible in the ordinary sense of the, quote, separation, end quote. Here means non-identification. In its ahankara, self-identifying attachment with the ever-changing forms, conditions, and relations of physical existence that makes the real, quote, separation, end quote, and binds men to rebirth in a world which they make one of infinitely more suffering than they do of joy. O son of Pandu, who doth not hate these qualities, illumination, action, and delusion, when they appear, nor longeth for them when they disappear, who, like one who is of no party, sitteth as one unconcerned about the three qualities, and undisturbed by them, who being persuaded that the three qualities exist, is not moved by them, who is of equal mind in pain and pleasure with those who like or dislike the same, whether praised or blamed, equally minded in honor or disgrace, the same toward friendly or unfriendly side, engaging only in necessary actions. Such one hath surmounted these qualities. End of chapter 14. Notes on the Bhagavad Gita by William Q. Judge. Please remember to give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this. Leave me a comment down below if you'd like to see more chapters out of this book. And always remember, love yourselves and love each other unconditionally.